In this video, we are going to deploy Node.js application to Heroku. But before we continue, I would like to point out that this is part of my MERN Stack expenses tracker application that I'm building. So let's go ahead and show you how you can deploy your Node.js application. But before that, let's look at the folder structure. As you can see here, I'm developing both the client and then the server, that is MERN Stack. So we are going to deploy only the server. But the way I have configured this project was that in the development mode, I would like to run one script to run both my client and the server. And this is the syntax or the script I've configured. So if you haven't watched this one, you want to know how you can do that, you can watch the previous videos as well. So I'm outside the server folder and a client folder, but outside this one using this file. So if you look at my terminal here, I'm inside that main folder. So even though I'm not inside my server or client folder, but I can still run these two. So the script I use is called yarn watch. So yarn watch is going to run both my client and the server. But before that, let me run the server first. Okay, so this script, yarn server, is going to run this server. Even though I'm not inside my server folder here, I'm outside using this script to run that. So let me show you the script I use to run that. And this is a script called yarn server. Cool. And let me run my client using yarn client. So I'm outside my React folder. But better still, I can still run my client. Okay, my client like that. Let's see that. You see the React is spinning up and it's opening here as you are seeing. Good. So that is crazy, guys. So now let me run both the client and the server. So it's gonna be I use a script called yarn watch. So yarn watch, first of all, run the React and then run my server. As you can see, now it's running. Okay, cool. So that's a head up. So let me bring this one here a little bit so that I can move easily. Cool. So the way I would like to deploy my application is I want to deploy the API standalone and my client side also standalone. So I would like to deploy my API to Heroku and my client to Netlify. Cool. But in development mode, I would like to run the two. But in production, I want to run them separately. So because I want to deploy this server alone, because assuming that you want some front-end application to utilize this API, it's pretty easy to do that. That's why I like to deploy my API standalone. Okay, cool. So now that I want to deploy my server alone, I would like to cd into my server folder. So cd into my server. Cool. So now I'm inside my server, right? This folder. Cool. I'm going to deploy this one. So if you look at, so ignore, so let me close. Now we are going to work inside my package.json file for my, the server file or the backend. So you see, I have a script, and look at the folder structure here. I have my SRC and some configuration, controllers, middlewares, and then app. And the way I've configured is that I have what is called separation of concern. My server run only the server file only, and the app have my business logic as well. So my server run my server. So I've configured this in advanced way using HTTP. So in the previous video, I also configured or created this server. So if you want to watch this one too, you can go ahead and watch that. Okay. So now let's go ahead. So let's go into the package.json file and see the script that we are going to use. As you can see, I will start here to run my server. So I'm inside my server, but not the main folder. So bear in mind, we're deploying the server only. So I have a script called yarn start. So yarn start is going to use the command of node. So you see that I'm running with my server only using node. Okay, now that you know the structure now, and this one uses nodemon to run. Okay, so now that you know the structure of the project, now let's go back the steps of deploying your your Node.js application to Heroku. So first thing first is that you need to tell the Heroku that you want to run a specific version of Node. So I'm inside my server folder. So let's go to my package.json file, and then here you need to tell Heroku that you want to run your application using a specific engine. That's the new version. So here you provide a property called engines, right? And here specify your Node version. So how can you know your Node version? So let's go to our terminal, shut down the server, and make use of Node-v. And at the time of watching this video, I'm using this version. So let me copy that and come to my terminal here and then paste it. Okay, now that step 1 is done. Next step is that you need to take care of your security part of it. So if you look at this application, you look at the structure and ask yourself, what kind of data that you don't want to expose to outside worlds, right? So for example, if you have some sensitive keys or API keys you don't want to expose, you need to ignore them into get ignored. So we are going to push this one to GitHub. So we want to any user person to look through our code and see our keys or some sensitive data. Because of that, we are going to create one file called .getignore. .getignore, like that. And what do you want to ignore? You want to ignore first your Node modules. You don't want to push this one to Heroku or GitHub. Okay, so let's make use of node_modules. And let's see. Okay, so let's remove this one and something. Okay, the same thing. Okay, it means that we have ignored our Node module. Cool, that's the first step. All right, Node modules has been get ignored. Okay, so next step is that you don't need to, if you look at our configuration, our DB connection, as we see that we have some sensitive data here we don't want to push. For example, we have the ID of my DB or of my MongoDB, which is not secured way of doing it. So we need to put this one into environment variable. So let's go ahead and then instead of using this exposing our string like this, let me close everything and then let's put this one into environment variable. So make sure that you are inside the server, right, server folder, and then let's create, oh sorry, getignore must be inside, sorry, that is why I don't think so. Here it might be inside at the root of your folder, all right, at the server side. So like this, sorry guys. Okay, so it must be here, your getignore must be here at the root of your folder of your project. So I think that this one. Okay, cool. So now you have ignored the the Node module. The next step is that let's secure. If you look at the structure now, the only sensitive data is this connection string. So let's use environment variable to do that. So we are going to use a package called .env, and going to help us to secure our some sensitive data. So yarn add, I'm using yarn called .env, like that, and then hit enter. In a couple of seconds it will finish installing. So like I said, it's done. So let me start my server again, yarn start, so that's working perfectly. Okay, so how can you secure it? So at the roots of your folder, your server, create one file .env, and then here we're going to add our own variable here. So let's call this one Mongo URL, and then equal to. So let's go to our DB connection and then copy or cut this one from here and then come to env file and paste it without any quotation marks. So how can we reference this inside here? And Node give us some global functions like process, right? So on the process, if you console a process, it's a function. On that you have what's called environment, and here, because it's an object, we can add our own variable to it, or we can access variable to it. So any property you put it here is now accessible on this environment variable with the help of the .env package we installed. So to be able to make sure you are typing the right thing, copy that and then come here and paste it here as that. So now let's save it and then let's restart our server and see that we're going to get something error that our DB is not connected, or well, it's connected. Yes, because so the next step is that we need to require the package because I have done it. So let me go to my app here. So at the root of this thing, so let me remove this one for now to show you from scratch. Okay, so when you save it and then let's shut down the server and restart again, you see that it tells me that the URL is not valid, right? So how can we do that? So you need to call the function, the .env package you installed. So this is how you do it. So const.env is equal to required.env package we installed. So now we need to call this function, right? So as simple as that. So you have to call it after your server has been connected. So let's call this one env file, and then pass as a middleware, right? App.use, or is it? No, it's not middleware, as a function. So .env.config, and that's all what we need. So if you save this one, so anytime you make changes to your environment variable, you need to restart your server. So let me shut down and then restart and see that my DB will be connected this time around. Let's hope for good news. As we see, DB connected. So we have now secured our sensitive data. So if you have more keys, we can place them here and use this method, the environment variable here, to access that. Okay, so now second part is done. The next step is that we want to keep track of our project. So we need to push this one to GitHub. So anytime in future, if you make changes to maybe some of the code, you can go to push to GitHub and then you can reference it. But before that, we have two ways of deploying this application. One using the GUI, that is the user interface, and one using the terminal. But because we are developers, we prefer to use the terminal, right? So next step is that let's push this one to GitHub first. So if you have a GitHub account, so let's go to GitHub and then create an account for GitHub. So I have an account, so I will log in here from GitHub and then sign in. I think I have logged in already. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a repository for this project, right? So I'll click on new and then let me call this one expense server or API, like that. And then again, because we already have a folder already being created, right? We need to select public. If you want to make this project to be public, otherwise make it private, because now GitHub give us these features for free without any plan. So if you want to make it public, you can do it. So because this one for testing, I'll make it public. If you scroll down, initialize this repository with what? Again, because we already have a folder, if you select any of this one, GitHub gonna create a new folder for you. But because we already have it, we don't need to check any of this one again, right? So let's click on create. So when you click on create, you can see that it gives us some options to select. One, if your project is already a GitHub, you have initialized as a Git. So to access that, let's come to our terminal and then shut down and make use of Git status. So if you make your Git status, it tells that maybe whether it is a Git repository or not. As you can see, it's not a Git repository. So I'll go for the first option, or create a new repository on the command line, or push an existing repository from command line. Okay, so how can we do it? So let's follow this documentation. First of all, let's copy this snippet, and then come here, the terminal, and paste it. That's the first step. So follow the one, then git init, copy that. So let me bring this one here to able to move faster. Here, a little bit faster for this one. Okay, let me paste this one here, git init, and then the next one is what? Commit, and then hit that. Yeah, we have some untracked files. Okay, so git add. So let's add git add, good, and then git commit. So let's commit this one to GitHub, copy that and paste, and then let's push this one to GitHub and then paste it. All right, the next step is that let's use this snippet. So copy that. It's all about copying and pasting, just the steps. All right, and then the last one is what? Git push Heroku master. Now, so we are pushing this one to, as you can see that it's pushing right to GitHub. It's done. So when we refresh our GitHub, you can see that now we have a folder, but there's nothing in, right? So again, let's put this one using git push origin master. Git push origin master. So when you push it, you're going to see the additional files here. All right, so let me separate them to have some room to view what we are doing. Okay, so when everything goes on well, you can see that we have additional files inside your GitHub. As you can see, it's here. That's pushed into it. So when I look through, now I have access to my code, my this one here. Okay, so now we are keeping track of our project inside our GitHub. So next step is that let's create a Heroku account, right? So let me close this one because I want to push to Heroku, and let's see how we're going to prepare our project for Heroku. So let's go to Google and then let's search for Heroku. All right, and I already have an account, so I have to click on that and then log into my account. The sign up is pretty simple to do. Like I said, I have an account already, so I'll click here. If you don't have an account, click on sign up. I have it, so I will log in from here. Login. All right, and this is my username. This is for testing purposes. So when you log in, if you have some project, you see that you have more project being deployed here. But because I don't have any project, you see that it's asking me to create a new project. So like I said, we have two ways of doing this. I can push my project to Heroku using this command line, using this user interface. I can click on this, create, and then connect my project to GitHub, and then that's all. I'm good to go. So I'll show you that one too if you want. So let's go to our terminal. So the first thing, because we are going to use the terminal, we need to install the Heroku CLI. So let's search for Heroku CLI. Okay, and then let's do that. Quickly install that. Okay, so if you are using Mac, copy this command. Make sure you have blue being installed. So copy that and install. If you are on Windows, use this file, copy or download this one and install it. If you're on Ubuntu too, just the same process. But I have it being installed already. So what should I do is that next, we are almost done with it. I have to log in to Heroku from my command line because I have the Heroku command line being installed. So here I'll make use of Heroku login. Okay, Heroku login, like that. And sometimes when I think about this, crazy guys, so how can you log in from command line? So when I click any space, any key, you're gonna tell me we're gonna open this inside my using the browser to log in. So as you can see, automatically asks me to log in. So I'll click on this one and it tells me that IP address mismatch. Yes, because I have some VPN that I'm running. So let me close that, shut down my VPN, and then let me start again, and then let me log in again. Heroku login and press any key, and let's look at the magic, how we can log in from here. Again, click on that, and then let's hope for good news. As you can see, you can close this now. I've logged in. That is crazy. So let me go. I can close it now again. So let me come back to my terminal. As you can see, log in as my username. So the next command is what? Make use of Heroku Create. So Heroku Create. We're going to create my project. So let's see, it's creating my project. This is my project name, https bar. So if you go to your Heroku account here, let me show you, and then you refresh your application, you can see that we have that project being created for us. As you can see, Versa Syria. Okay, so next step is that now that we have create our project, next step is what? We need to push this one to Heroku, and that is all. So command git push Heroku master, and let's see for good news. You see, it's now pushing. Build a sourcing. You see, using the command there, our node version app detected, and for now we are in what? Production mode. As you can see, installing for us. Yeah, as you can see, build succeed, and compressing it, and let's see, build succeeded. Done. Launching. Great. So okay, good. It has been deployed to Heroku as easy as that. So now to be able to open, we can make use of command or copy this. We can click on this one to open it, but I would like to use the command Heroku open to open the project, and let's see whether we're going to have some good news. So let's see the open. There we go. We see that our app is now live. Message not found. But again, let me show you one more thing. In the API, we have users. So when I click on fetch users, so my server is not running. So let me run my server again. And when you make the API request for my local environment, we have this. Let me look at the API. Okay, the MongoDB is not running. Okay, so it says you that it has been deployed. So let's testify whether it has been deployed successfully or not. All right, see that we have it being displayed successfully, but this error simply means not an error because it's trying to locate this home page, but there is no endpoint for that. But in the rare API that we created, we see that it fetch all users. So, but the last thing you need to do is that remember that we are putting the connection string into environment variable, and you are not pushing that one to what? To Heroku, right? So what I'm going to do in this video or continue is that we need to go to Heroku account, right? And then we need to tell Heroku to use our connection string for MongoDB, right? So to be able to use that, we come to settings. Okay, click on settings and click on review configuration, and here we're going to add your keys. So if you go back to the project, right, the key that we use, the one we deploy to, we ignore from, oh, we forgot to ignore that. Oh, sorry, we need to ignore that one too. So .env. sorry guys. Okay, cool. So we need to ignore that. So next step is that we need to tell Heroku to use this URL. So let's go back, come here, and inside the review settings here, you paste the value and then the property name here. So let's remove the quotation marks. Sorry guys, that's bad on my side. Okay, so next is let's add the value here and add it. And since you have made changes to that, let's push this one to Heroku again. So in the future, anytime you make changes, all what you need is what? Git add. Okay, and then git commit. We can make any name here, any name, message, and then git push Heroku master. And then we are pushing this one to Heroku again to get the updated version of application. Okay. And one more thing, to be able to see some message, all right? So inside the app here, inside the app, we can just send some welcome message before that. So here we can see that app.get, all right? App.get, that's the home page. So when it runs, you're going to run this home page message. So rec.response, and then let's send something. Just say res.json. and then let's give this one a message. And the message, let's say, welcome to expenses tracker API. All right, so now let's push this one again to Heroku. So again, git add, and then git commit, and then git push Heroku master, and that is it. So after it being pushed to Heroku, this one being pushed, we see that we have, when you go to when you visit the home page, we're going to see that message that welcome to our API. So let's wait and see build success, and then it's trying to compress it for us, and it's done. So next, launching it, and then next step is let's open this, open that, and then you can come in there, refresh it, and let's see what we have. Okay, it's not yet done, it's not yet fetched, right? So let's open it here again, let's refresh it and see. We see that we have welcome to, but for this Chrome, I don't have the JSON format, but for this one I have it. So when you open this one, you see it clear. We see that we have what? Welcome to expenses tracker API. So as you can see, now we have it. When I refresh it, I have the welcome expense API, but we have an endpoint that fetch all users, and the endpoint is slash, remember, API slash users. When you fetch it, there we go. Now we have our API being deployed, so you can send this API to your friends. So to be able to, if you want to rename this API, we can do that one too, and the renaming is pretty simple. All what we need is what? Heroku Rename, right? So let's rename this API, our API URL, and this is how we're going to do Heroku apps. Okay, Heroku apps, and then the next one I'm going to do is what? We add semicolon, so like this, apps, and then rename and the name of the API, right? Rename and the name of the API. Rename is command, and then how you want to rename it, and then you hit enter. You see that expenses tracker API is renaming, and then it already exists. So let's change this one to v2. Okay, let's try. Yeah, it has renaming. Don't forget to update get remote. So all what we need is what? Let's get remote, remove Heroku account. Sorry. So let's update our get using this command, get remote remove Heroku. Hit enter, and then the last part is what? Let's update it. Next command is called the Heroku get remote, and the app name, and the app name is this what we used. Okay, and then let's rename, move this one, and then paste this one here, and then v2, and then let's wait. Okay, set rename. So now if you visit, let's open it, Heroku open, and then you see that we're going to have our API being opened successfully. Let's check it out. There we go. Like I said, let me use this one because this one gives me the formatted version of my JSON in this browser, because I've installed an extension called JSON Formatter. So when you send, we have it, and when I visit /API/users, and there we go. All right, so I'm happy that we have deployed application. So as we proceed on, we will keep pushing this one to Heroku or GitHub, and then you can get the updated version for our project.